Hi, welcome to the Pur'N'Kleen podcast, episode 31. My name is Rommel, and sometimes you just have to fire your guildies. Hey everybody, Rommel here. Today I'm here with Lisa. Say hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Sometimes you just gotta fire your guildies, don't you think?
That seems a little harsh.
Yeah, well, not all the time they behave properly. So if they're being dickholes, then you gotta fire them.
So you're just gonna fire everyone you don't like?
No, so that's the thing. That's what we're gonna talk about today. So,
Okay.
Eager to hear your thoughts. Now, there's different ways we can talk about it. And one is the perspective of, like, if you know you're gonna get cut, you're gonna get kicked out, then how do you best move on? But here we're gonna talk about you're the leader and you have to kick out someone.
Okay.
And like tips on how to do it professionally so that there's no hard feelings and there's no drama, because not everybody likes drama.
But like, do people know that they're gonna get kicked out? That seems really strange to me. Like.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that, because I think they should know.
Okay.
I don't think it should be a surprise, but a lot of the advice that you hear when firing people is that you should fire fast. Like, you can magically spot when someone doesn't work out, and as soon as you spot it, you fire fast, quote unquote, right?
Okay.
Fire fast.
Uh-huh.
And but what does that even mean? Like, the first time somebody screws up, gotta fire fast, fire them now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that seems a little bit harsh. It doesn't really mean anything to fire fast, in my opinion. And don't you just want to give people the breathing room to make mistakes? Have you ever been fired?
No.
Yeah, I've never been fired either. But have you ever made mistakes in a job where you feel like you could have gotten fired? Because I have done a lot of those.
Maybe.
Yeah. And not like, think of like, Star Citizen, right? They give you one of the largest ships. It's like a $1,000 ship, mm-hmm. and you freaking crash it into the moon. Mm-hmm. Should you get fired for that?
Absolutely.
I don't think you should get fired for that. I think that's like a mistake in your coaching, and whoever gave you the ship when you obviously couldn't fly it.
Double fire!
Yeah, just fire everyone.
Exactly.
At the first mistake, right?
That's gonna be my philosophy.
Yeah. Well, I think it's better if people learn from their mistakes, because then they're trained, mm-hmm. and then they can do better, and then they can fly around the moon instead of directly into the moon.
Well, you just said he obviously failed his training. So if you keep him, he's still failed his training. No.
He'll fail his training, but then he'll learn from his mistakes. We'll clarify what the expectations are, and it'll work out. Or if it doesn't work out, then it's time to move on.
Okay.
So, I think it's good to give people the opportunity to make mistakes and recover from them. But you might ask, why would you even care about this stuff in a video game? Like, it's just a video game. And it's not like in the real life where you fire someone you do a wrongful termination and then they can sue you, right? Mm-hmm. In a video game, you just kick someone out and that's it. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we should care because we're humans. Mm-hmm. There's humans behind the computer, and they have feelings, and they can talk, and they can create drama. So I think to have a framework for kicking or like allowing people to move on from your organization is a good thing to avoid those sort of problems that could arise.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, like, how you treat others is a big reflection on yourself and your company and your values. and it will impact how others perceive you, especially if the person being fired was influential. You don't want to create drama for your org, because then you're going to get a reputation, and that's not good.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 5 things that I think we should discuss, and these are: avoid surprises, have a performance improvement plan, lock down everything, be truthful, and cultivate the relationship with your alumni. So let's start with avoid surprises. As a leader for your organization, the first thing you want to do is avoid surprises. If somebody needs to go, it's going to be painful, but it's going to be more painful for the person being kicked. Like if you kick someone without any lead up to that, like so that they consider their options, then you're just flat out a dick. Like you don't just show up and say, hey, you're fired because you did something. Like they should know this is coming. And, you should let the person know they're not working out so that they can then decide, okay, should I try and make things work out? Or should I start looking for where to go? Mm-hmm. I think this is just like the nice human being thing to do.
So would you give them a warning, or like, I don't understand how... Okay, so there's somebody that's making trouble in your org, and you're concerned about said person. You're thinking about possibly letting them go.
Yeah.
Like, are you supposed to have a conversation with them, or do you give them a warning?
Yeah.
Or like, how are they supposed to know?
So
that
I
they're
think
in their spot?
That leads perfectly into my second point, which is that you should have a performance improvement plan, or a PIP, sometimes they call it. And all a PIP is pretty straightforward. You tell the person, the employee, the org mate, the guildie, that they're not really where you'd like to see them, and you tell them that they're in danger of being kicked out if they don't fix whatever they're doing, and you set clear goals so that the employer has a chance to turn things around. That's all it is. Okay. So if you have that formalized for all employees, then it doesn't look like you're picking on someone. It's like it's the same process for everyone. If you're not meeting expectations, you go through this process, and if you can meet these goals, then you're not fired. Mm-hmm. But if it doesn't work out, then you have a way to terminate the relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It just feels like these rules are more for assuaging the guilt of the leader instead of doing... I mean, I can see how it would be good for the whole org to know like what the rules are, and if they do something, then they'll be on this warning list or whatever. But it feels like it's more for the leader, so they can feel good about firing someone.
Yeah. I think performance improvement plans in the real world are definitely seen as companies trying to cover their ass, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so they have documentations and they don't get fired or whatever.
Right.
Sued. Yeah. But the way I see them is I see them as mutual benefit, because it's clear to the person that's in trouble that it's clear to them what they need to do to change the status that they have at the organization. So they're at a bad status, and now it's clear because you give them goals. Mm-hmm. Now it's clear how they go from bad to okay. They're not going to be at a great status, but they're going to meet the expectations. Okay. And then at that point, they can choose to stay or they can try to go. Like it's on them at that point. And they have full knowledge, and it's not a surprise that people are kind of upset at them. Mm-hmm. So I think it's better for the company and for the employee at the same time to both be clear as to what it is that the expectations are, and both parties at that point can decide happily what they should do.
Okay.
Yeah. So Another thing I wanted to cover is lockdown, because I think it's often overlooked when you terminate someone, or the first thing you want to do when you have started the process of firing someone is to start locking down their access to everything. And this is the standard move to remove liability from any bad actors. Certainly the vast majority of people will never be a problem, but would you bet your entire org's reserve on it? How about the location of your fleet and bases, or the passwords to your social media and websites? Like, I think from just like those things, you need, even though it seems kind of like a dickish move, but like it really in your best benefit to just lock everything down for that person when you are thinking about firing them or you begun that process.
Okay, so let's say that you have someone that you want to fire in your org, and you open up a dialogue with them and you say, hey, I'm thinking about firing you because you're kind of a dick and you need to change in X, Y, and Z ways, and then, you know,
yeah,
you
and
can
then
stay.
And then you don't lock it down?
And then, no, well, okay, so both of you go away from that conversation, right?
Yeah.
And you're feeling pretty good about yourself because you didn't just fire someone for being a dick. And the other guy is thinking, oh shit, I've been a dick. Like, obviously, because I'm a dick. So I'm just gonna steal everything
exactly
they have.
Yeah, and just like go out with a bang, right?
But on the other hand, if they go away from that conversation and they're thinking, oh shit, I've been a dick, what? I need to change my ways. And then they log in the next day, boom! They've been locked out of everything. They no longer have access to where you guys are, where the money is, any of the account information. How are they going to feel? Oh, that wasn't actually a conversation. It looks like I've been fired already.
Yeah. And in fact, I was reading a blog recently where we'll talk about this in a little bit. But yeah, like if it's important to be truthful. Like if you're being fired, it's not a conversation that you're having. It's like you're being fired. So you began the process of firing someone. It's different from like, oh, we mutually agreed to part ways. No, you didn't mutually. One person didn't mutually agree to this, you know?
So then how are you supposed to open up a conversation about possibly getting fired without actually going through with firing them?
Yeah, so that's why you have your performance improvement plan. You set the person on a path and you give him heads up. You don't just fire someone on the spot. I mean, I'm sure there are cases where you have to fire someone on the spot. Like if they're trying to run away with all the money. And in that case, I think it's perfectly fine to just lock them down. I think that's what you need to do to prevent them from causing more damage. But in most cases, it's not going to be like that, right? It's just going to be someone that's not pulling their weight.
Okay.
I think everybody's worked with people that just don't pull their weight, and it's really frustrating to be around them.
So you wouldn't lock out or lock down your things until you know they're fired?
No, I would say before, but I think if somebody knows they're getting fired, it's kind of like expected that they will lose some of their access. Like, and then it's relatively easy to regain the access that they had.
Okay.
But it's better to err on the side of caution than like have someone throw a shit fit and they like steal all the money and all the ships. Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And then I think you should also try and automate the process of granting permissions and removing permissions to people. Because as you grow and the game becomes more complex, people will leave your org to do something else. And streamlining this process is going to make it easier for everyone. No one gets up in the morning and say like, I just had my breakfast. Hooray, I get to update credentials for like all these people I fired. Thank you. Woohoo. Like, you know, like that's nothing. Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
Like even spreadsheet nerds don't want to do that.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Yeah, so like one of the last things is be truthful. So you were talking about this. Privacy is important, but don't lie. Kicking people out of your organization is rarely mutually agreed. For example, you might hear Captain Kofster say, "We had a conversation with Rommel about his performance in the recent org activity and decided it was best to part ways." I guarantee you it was not a conversation that was mutual. And the sentence implies that it was a mutual decision. It was probably more like Captain Kofster telling Rommel that he's crashed the Starfarer one too many times and he's fired. You know? Like it's not a mutual decision. Usually one person, one party is in a position of power, whether it's someone firing or someone that just got a better offer or just wants to do something else and they just want to leave. It's usually one person making the decision.
Okay.
One side. And in any case, it's obvious to people why they're being fired. Like, don't imply it's a mutual decision because it rarely is. And if you start telling these fuzzy lies, then you will erode the trust inside your organization and you will create unnecessary drama and politics. You know, like if you're at your job and you say like, you know, Jessica and Erica, we had a mutual discussion and she's not going to be with the organization anymore. It's like, you know, that's bullshit.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So, like, all I'm saying is, like, if you want people to trust you inside your org, then just don't say that. Don't say fuzzy lies because they make you feel better about you having to fire someone that other people liked. You know? That's all I'm saying. And last but not least, I do want to touch on cultivating the relationship with your alumni. Immediately after parting ways, there will be a number of important aspects that will require communication. If you have shared ships or shared assets, then you will have to decide how to split those, how to reallocate those. If you have planet-side assets, weapons, gear, so on, you have to like reallocate those. And however, after all that obvious things are done, there are reasons to keep long-term relationships alive even after things like these. Things like helping with recruiting referrals to the org, potentially professional relationships, new networking opportunities, and other ways to help each other in general. It's good to have these sort of relationships stay in place, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree.
And one way to cultivate this relationship is to have a section in your forum or chat for alumni so that they can talk about whatever they want, whenever they want, and they never lose access to it even after leaving your org. It helps with staying in touch because it provides a single and obvious point of contact if necessary. Like, hey, maybe they forgot something in the org hangar and they need it back. If you just like shut complete access, then it's going to be really awkward for them to communicate. But there's a section for them, and they can easily contact you. And since these people quit or got fired, chances are that they won't be posting much. So it requires very little maintenance on your part. Just keep it updated with changes to your organization, and you have a great way to stay in touch and a potential source of recruiting talent.
Yeah, but that only really works if it's more of a mutual breakup than it is if you fire someone because they've been a nuisance. Then if you leave that channel open to them, then what if they start spamming your chat about how horrible your organization is?
Right, yeah. And I think that's something to to keep in mind, but there are plenty of reasons why someone would leave an org for purposes unrelated to their overall opinion of you, like of your organization or of you personally. It could be that they no longer have time to game. It could be that they have a kid and now they have to take care of the kid a lot. It could be that they want to play with other friends. It could be that they want to play another game. It could be that they want to play a different game mechanic, or they're no longer interested in what the organization is doing. It could be that they want to play as the bad guys.
Right, but it really only works if they're the ones who choose to leave instead of you're the one that forced the other person to leave.
And I'm saying 90% of the time is going to be like that.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, that's another thing. Like, we at the Pur'N'Kleen company, we're very careful about who we bring in. So when we bring someone in, they're already kind of vetted. Like, they're nice people. We're not gonna. we don't have like blank. Everybody can just join.
Right.
You know, like we interview them and we have a process. So our filtering for assholes is much higher than those organizations. So yeah, you're right. If they have like no filtering, then who knows who is in the org, and yeah, who knows who can post. Yeah, in that case, you have to probably take that into account if you have an open forum for them.
Right.
But I feel very comfortable about the people that we do let in our organization, that like nobody's gonna be an asshole. Like, even if we have those situations, I know that people will be professional about it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a good point. But like, assuming most people are good, then if you treat your guildies with respect, they can be an advocate for your company without you having to spend time marketing or advertising your org. And that's a good thing, I think. And everybody wants to be the one who helps their friend find a cool org, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what you were saying. On the flip side, if a company has a poor relationship with former employees, then one can expect the relationship to go both ways. The employees will badmouth the company every single chance they get, and you will have a hard time moderating and attracting talented people. Yeah. That's it. That's all I have to say about how to fire people.
Okay.
What did you think?
I don't know.
Well, it was nice to have you on the podcast. I hope you jump in on other episodes.
I'll be here if you want me.
All right. Yeah, guys, let me know if you liked Lisa. Yeah. She has a very nice voice, doesn't she? Definitely better than mine.
It's getting awkward.
Anyway, one hopes that you won't have to use this information on how to terminate guildies, but here it is if you need it. Let me know what you think by dropping a comment in the section below. The Pur'N'Kleen podcast is a free star system podcast aimed at tackling the business side of the verse. I'll see you guys next Monday. Yesterday, I got a message on the RSI org messaging system from a spy organization asking me how I plan to grow my org, or how I plan to grow Pur'N'Kleen company. I don't want to grow my org.